Yeah. Good evening, friends. So my humble request to all of you is that kindly keep your mic on mute. Okay, I'm already recording, so I will not be giving permission for anyone to record. And I will share this recording with all of you. And I'm sure this recording will be of good quality. In fact, I've recorded last week's sessions also. I look at whichever is the better one, and then I'll share in that presentation, in that video recording to you. And I'll share today's recording by tonight itself to you so that you will get along with the PPT. The other groups were not so fortunate. They will all be getting along with you only. We'll be, discussing whoever is attending on behalf of apostles, please do not ask for permission again. I'm making it very plain and clear. Please do not ask for permission again. If you're asking permission again, I may have to remove you from the group because this is disturbing me. Very now and then you're asking me, Papa's house attend பண்றீங்கன்னா திரும்ப என்ன ரெக்கார்டிங் பெர்மிஷன் கொடுங்கன்னு சொல்லி கேட்காதீங்க. ஏன்னா இது distracts me. ஏன்னா attention பண்ணது தயவு செய்து பண்ணாதீங்க because I'm already recording and do not want to spend my time on all these small things. Okay, I have designed a 5-day session. In fact, we'll be having 6th day also. I have designed 5-day session like this. The first day, we'll be learning about the general provisions of income tax law. General provisions of when our income is taxable and who is the person and what are all taxable and what are the exemptions that we have. The various exemptions under section 11 we'll be looking at, and then we'll be looking at the various income part of it, and then we will close with anonymous donation. Day 2, we'll be dealing law exemptions, various exemptions available. Today, I'll be talking about the conditions for exemptions. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing about the various exemptions available to us. And on the third day, we'll be looking at application of, we'll be looking at non-compliance, when an organization will forfeit their exemption. And then we'll also be looking at the ATG donations. And finally, we'll be looking at the tax collector at source. That we'll be looking at, possibly on Saturday, because all these things will take time. So that we'll be looking at on the last day. So let me start the presentation because we all know, because every one of us joined here, you all have organizations, either trust or society or a company or any other form of organization that is subject to income tax. And all of us are aware that our income is subject to tax. And I don't think any of you think that we are above the law. But anyway, for the benefit of those who think that income tax does not apply to us, I just wanted to tell you briefly why income tax law applies to charitable organization. We call section 4 of the income tax as the charging section. Section 4 says income tax shall be charged in accordance with and subject to the provisions of Income Tax Act. Income tax shall be charged in accordance with subject to the provisions of this act. This is very clear. And what it says is that in respect of total income of every person of the previous year, let's not worry about the previous year, total income of every person. So what is the meaning of that? Income tax will be charged if my income is an income under the Income Tax Act. And next, income tax shall be charged if I am a person under the income tax law. If I am not a person under income tax law, if I earn income in India, it will not be subject to income tax. Okay, I don't have time to elaborate on this. Let me get into who is a person for the purpose of income tax. We are discussing with reference to charitable organizations. So I'll be restricting my discussions only with charitable organization. So there are a lot of persons included under the Income Tax Act for the purpose of income taxation. The definition is an inclusive definition. Person includes. As we all know, there are various people because individuals are included because many of us pay income tax, either from a salary or as consultant or as a business people or as a professional. We are all paying income tax. Then business houses, they are also paying income tax. So they are also a person for the purpose of Income Tax Act. The business house can be a partnership firm. It can be a limited liability partnership. It can be a company. It can be a cooperative society. All these are person for the purpose of Income Tax Act. Included in the definition is association of person or body of individual. Association of person. When I talked about the person includes, I said it includes companies, it includes partnership firm, it includes limited liability partnership. So if one company and one limited liability partnership firm, they come together to serve the society, they form a unit, they register a trust, or they like an instrument, and then they want to serve the society. Their purpose of coming together, this company and the firm, is not to derive any income, is not to do any business. They don't have any intention of making profit. They only want to serve the people. They only want to do charity. Even then, they are person for the purpose of income tax. And please note that they need not be registered. The partnership, the trust or the instrument which they write to come together and serve the society need not be registered. I'll give one more example. Let's take when I am a socially minded person and I help children with their scholarship, educational support. Let's presume I give a scholarship to few people, and I have a friend. When he says, "Hey John, hey Ravi, you are doing good work. I will also join. You select and distribute. What I will do is that I'll contribute money. We'll open a common bank account. We'll put the money there, and you distribute." Two of us have come together. We are association of persons. We are not registered. Tax department says I'm not bothered about it. And our purpose of coming together, myself and my friend coming together, is not to derive income. We are only doing what we are doing. We are only taking from our income, distributing it to the poor children. Government says you are also a person for the purpose of Income Tax Act, and you need to follow the income tax law. Please remember, or please note, I am not telling you that you should pay taxes. My ideas, I'm just trying to explain few concepts to you. Okay, right? I'm trying to explain who is a person for our charitable organization context. Sorry. Okay. I'm trying to explain in the context of charity, who is a person. So the trust that we are looking at, the society that we are looking at, or an instrument by which we have come into existence, we are looking at, if it has as members, individuals, or even companies, whether they are registered or not, it does not matter. Whether their motive is to make profit or not, earn income or not, no problem. The moment when they come together, they are persons for the purpose of income tax law, and they are subject to Income Tax Act. I hope I'm clear on this. We'll move to the next one. What is income? We all know the income part of it. We may not know the definition of income, section 224, but we all know the income because many of us are paying income tax. We pay income tax from a salary. So salary is an income. We pay income tax, whether we like it or not, bank direct at source from the bank interest that we get. Supposing you put some fixed deposit, bank will cut in TDS from the fixed deposit, the interest is also income. If I have rent is also included of your CA and my CSS. you need to offer rent also as income for the income tax purpose and pay taxes on that. Rent is also income. Business, I don't want to explain. Business is certainly an income subject to income tax. So if we look at all these income, we see there is an effort to earn income. Take, for example, business, there is an effort. People are working to earn income. Salary, there is an effort to earn income. In case of rent and interest, we are investing money in a place expecting return. There is an intention to earn income. Okay, right? I hope I'm making myself clear to you. Salary, I'm earning income. When it comes to rent or interest, this is an investment from which I'm earning income. So I have invested with a consciousness that I will get returns from that. So these are also income. But included in this definition is voluntary contributions. What is voluntary contribution? It is nothing but donation. Charity. Somebody has given charity to my organization. With that, I am doing charitable work. If you see voluntary contribution, it will not fit into the definition of income because we don't earn that income. We have not earned that income. Voluntary contribution is something which is given to us by our benefactors. They are giving it to us, saying that you go and distribute, you go and do the good work. Or the church, people come and give offering, and with that income, the church is doing a lot of social work, a lot of work among the society, and also they carry out religious activities. But what the law says is that income includes voluntary contribution received by a trust. The word trust includes all other legal obligations, which means that when we say trust, it includes society, it includes Section 8 company, it includes any institution which has come into existence by way of law, either at the central government or at the state government. We all know there are a number of universities that have come into existence, private universities, because of the state acts. There are institutions like IIT, IIM, CA Institute, Cost Accounting Institute that have come into existence because of the parliament. So all these institutions, right, they are all put together under one name called trust. So in fact, in the next 5 days, today of inclusive, I'll be using the word trust more frequently. When I use the trust, it means and it includes the society, the company, charitable company, the universities that have come into existence because of the main state government, or institutions that are coming into existence because of central government, or all other main institutions that have come into existence, okay, right, to doing charitable work. And for all of them, the law says voluntary contribution is income. Okay, voluntary contribution is income. And please note that all our income, because other income will definitely be part of income. Supposing you get school income, it's definitely an income. Okay, voluntary contribution received by a trust is an income for the purpose of income tax act. Please remember again, please note again, I am not telling you that you should pay taxes with your income, because all these years we have not been paying taxes, but things may change this year onwards. But I'm trying to explain the concept. I hope you understand what I've explained this so far. Okay, now we go to the next one. What is charity for the purpose of income tax? We are only restricting for the income tax purposes. Section 215 defines charitable purposes. Charitable purpose is again an inclusive definition. What is inclusive definition? Looking at the overall, the way the particular section is drafted, or the intention of the government, the courts can add more. Okay, right? Tax department can add more, looking at the similarity. Charitable purpose includes relief of the poor. We all know what is that. I don't need to explain much. Education, we'll briefly learn about what is education now under the main after the Supreme Court decision in New Noble Foundation. I mean, that was in last year, in September 2022. Yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment, preservation of monument, and finally, advancement of any other object of general public utility. We commonly call these as GPU. This one as GPU. Okay, advancement of any other object of public utility. The courts have held up. Courts have held over a period. Any activity done by a charitable trust which benefits a larger public, they said it is charitable in nature. Of course, this is changed now. Okay, what was being held is that as long as the benefit goes to a larger public, courts have held that it is for, it is charitable in nature. That is why courts have said promotion of cottage and rural industries is charitable in nature. Promotion and development of industries, arts and crafts is charitable in nature. Okay, bar councils is charitable in nature. Export promotions, charitable in nature. Promotion of commerce and trade, charitable in nature. Okay, these people, all these are serving the business houses. See, when you have, an association, take for example, bar council. Bar council is not going to teach the lawyers or not going to tell the lawyer that you serve the people, you don't charge fees. That is not what they are doing. They will only help the lawyers to do their work in a more professional way, in the right way. Okay, export promotions again, it's purely business. But what sports are doing is that the moment when you serve a larger public, not a few group of people, courts have said you are an organization of general public utility. So a lot of businesses were claiming benefit from this. So in the year 2009, the then government brought an amendment to the section 215. They included provisos. So what they said is that advancement of any other object of general public utility shall not be charitable purpose. Number one, if it involves carrying on activity in the nature of trade, commerce, or business. What it means, I'll explain and then move forward. What it means. I'm an organization, I am established for charitable purposes. I do charitable work. If I have an activity that is in the nature of trade, commerce, or business, then my organization will not be charitable. I hope you understood this. Okay, right? Now the next one. First one, I am directly doing trade, commerce, or business. Or I do support service for trade, commerce, or business. I render any service in relation to trade, commerce, or business. Okay. I conduct training program to the trade houses as to how best they can do the business. I am rendering service. Or I give them some facilities. I render service to them. So, if you are a charitable organization, if your work involves activity in the nature of trade, commerce, or business, or if you're doing business, then you're not charitable. Or you do any support service for the business houses. Okay, rendering any service to the business houses, we are not charitable in nature. Okay. And what they are saying is that, whether you use, because this definition will come only when you charge a fees. If you don't charge a fees, then you don't need to worry at all, because this is outside your book. It does not come out. The moment when you charge one, it comes. So the charge can be, you can call it as any name. You can call it as a fee, cess, or any other name you call it, it still will be covered under the GPU, General Public Utility. The most important thing, look, what I am doing in my organization, we sell, we have handicrafts, we have tailoring center, we have self-help group, and we encourage our people to do some business activity, and all those products we sell it, and then we make money, and we use that money only for charitable purpose. Common says it's all right, whether whatever is the nature of your use or application or retention from this activity, from this business activity, you still will lose your charitable nature. You will not be charitable in nature. Okay, this is very, very clear. Okay, government made this law. So many of our organizations, because our own clients are here, because now I know that there are some of you from outside also joined. We all have for income generation program, IGP as we popularly call. We have for our income purposes, we have been doing some business activity. One common business activity most of us are involved in that. We have set up self-help groups some years back. Actively, when the government was in favorable to us, we set up a number of self-help groups, and we were actually doing the microfinance through our organization. Then came the little bit of interpretation that microfinance is not relief of the poor, it's a business activity. Then many of us have withdrawn from the microfinance. What we have done is that we have tied up with various banks for loans to the self-help group. And we do only monitoring work. We encourage our members from the self-help group to repay the loan back to the bank faithfully, for which bank pays us some service charges. And what we do, that service charges, we use it to employ few coordinators who will ensure that not only our people, our beneficiaries, the self-help group members, the mothers, they get benefit, they get the loan, they repay the loan. We also teach them the other skills. We also do our other regular activities also with the funds that we get from the banks. But today, because of this, in fact, I'm going to tell about a little more on the recent Supreme Court judgment. I'm going to tell you that because of that judgment, our business activity or IGPs are badly affected. Okay, so what we are doing for many of us, this support service may not be in your memorandum as an object. It may not be an object in your trust deed. But all these years you have been carrying on. Unfortunately, from this year onwards, you'll have to relook at it, because we will be, for our clients, we will be reporting that in the audit report if there are any business activities. The same is for the friends who have joined. Your CAs will be reporting that in the audit report. We'll be looking at the audit report format very, very briefly on the last day, 5th day. So please understand this. So what is so charitable purpose, what we discussed, it includes 7 active main limbs: relief of the poor, education, yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment, preservation of monuments, and advancement of any other object of public utility. See, whatever we are talking about this business nature, okay, this applies only to the GPU, the last limb. This applies only to the last limb. Does not apply to the other limb. For example, you are a school, you are running a school, you are an education institution. You can collect fees. Okay, right? You can collect fees. You are a hospital. Yes, you are allowed to charge fees from the patients. You are allowed to charge fees for the services that you are doing, for lab, for your ambulances, for pharmacy, or for your inpatient, for the bed charges. You are allowed to charge fees. Yoga, if you are conducting yoga training, you are allowed to charge fees. Okay, that will not be hit under the GPU, General Public Utility. For them, there is no problem at all. So when this amendment was introduced, so all NGOs represented to the government saying that this is too harsh. We need to raise resources. So in 2009 and all, there was no CSR program available to us. Okay, right? There was no CSR program available to us. So we were represented to the government, and the government said, okay, right, I allow you 10 lakh rupees from this business activity. After we represented, sorry, the law itself said 10 lakhs. After we represented, it was raised to 25 lakhs. And later on, they amended in 2015, and they said that your receipt from this business activity, okay, should not exceed 20% of the total receipts of income. Okay, right? What they are saying is that your receipts from this business activity, your aggregate receipts from your business activity, the total income from your business activity should not exceed 20% of the total receipts of the organization. Okay. And there are two conditions. There is one more condition that's the most important condition. Now, what is that condition? The condition is that your business activity should be can be carried on in the course of actual carrying out of the objects of the organization. It cannot be outside the objects of the organization. If you have a self-help group as an objective, and then helping a self-help group is an objective, then your activity will be in the course of actual carrying out of your general public utility. Let's take an example. You're a larger NGO, right? Let's say you have about 25 to 50 people working in your NGO. And even though they go to field, on an average, you have about 20 people in your office. And what you do is that you start a canteen for your workers in the office. And initially, the canteen serves only the main staff. We don't charge the staff also. It was more as a service. Then what you do is that you have some space. So you put a small bunk there. And then you start selling coffee, tea to the people who are traveling the road. And then you also start selling some snacks, wanting to help the poor people, because you think that by doing this, you can employ 2 more people and you also get some income. Please note that this activity is not in the course of actual carrying out of your objective. Okay, right? It should be as per your object. It is not actual carrying out of your objective of the trust. So this will not enjoy this 20% limit. What you are doing, your canteen activity may not enjoy 20% benefit. Whereas if you are doing, we talked about this, helping the self-help group. If there is an object which permits you to do that, then the aggregate receipt from the activity should not exceed 20% of the total receipt of the organization. Let's say your organization income is 100 lakhs. Okay. You get this business income from this business activity. Let's say it is 30 rupees. It exceeds 20% of this. When I say 100, it includes even the 30 rupees. Supposing if it is 20, then you are within this limit. Then you are safe. Okay. There is an important judgment in this context in section 215. This judgment was pronounced, I think, in the month of September or October. I'm not very sure. I think it is in October. This is by the Supreme Court. This is very popular known as Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, HODA. Okay, what the Supreme Court says in this judgment is that Supreme Court very clearly said that an organization, a trust, in the name of general public utility, they cannot engage itself in any trade, commerce, or business, or provide any service in relation to, this trade, commerce, or business for any consideration. The very fundamental principle. They say that you are, the last claim as, as an objective of, general public utility, as helping general public, you cannot, as advancing general public utility, you should not engage in any trade, commerce, or business, or provide support service in relation to trade, commerce, or business. Okay, right? But what they say is that, however, in the course of achieving the object of general public utility, the concerned trust can carry on. What do they mean? If for achieving your objects, okay, it is as part of your object, you can carry on the business or trade. Okay, right? What they are saying is that very clearly they say that it should be for the achievement of the organization, and the limit of 20% on the gross total receipt, you should keep in mind. It should not exceed the limit of 20%. The business income should not exceed 20% of the total receipts. So these two conditions, Supreme Court again reiterated in the case of Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority. And they pronounced one important principle here, which is very, very, very relevant. What they say is that in case you are carrying out any business, you should be charging, right, amount on cost basis or nominally above cost. Okay, when you charge your business, you can charge on cost basis or nominally above cost. Okay, but when your charges are markedly significantly above the cost, then it becomes a question. Okay, right? That is what they are saying. Let's take the example. In fact, I have given this illustration in the last two sessions also. Let's take an illustration for the business carried out by an organization. Let's take, we have a technical institute, okay, right? Which is running, which is teaching carpentry, motor mechanic, electrician course. So what they do is that as part of the motor mechanic, they all, even for carpentry, they have, they make furniture and sell. Let's, for the understanding, let's only restrict ourselves to the motor mechanic. What they do is that the institution, they have a garage, a service station, okay, as part of the teaching to the students. What they do is that in that garage, in that service station, they get vehicles from others and they service and give it, whatever the repairs are. It's not just water washing, they do the regular service, maintenance of the vehicle, service, and then they give it. Supposing the institution runs the garage or service station only with the students, nobody will come and give their vehicle there. Okay, nobody will come and give. So what they do is that they get some good experience and well qualified people to work in the service station, garage. So they get people to come, to give vehicles, and they regularly get vehicles and they service and give it. This is not, this is business, but this is business, but this business is in the course of achievement of objects of general public utility. Okay, right? And what the court says is that when that garage charging fees, it should be on cost basis or nominally above cost. They have not mentioned what is nominally above cost. Because the moment when you cross 20%, you lose your tax exemption because you are no more charitable. Threshold limit is 20%. So maybe cost plus 10%, cost plus 12%, or cost plus 15% could be acceptable. This is my personal view. I'm not saying this is what it is, but definitely cost plus 20% will not be. So you will have to decide what is the nominal cost, and based on which you can charge your fees. Okay, right? So this is the important main clarification or principle which the Supreme Court has brought it. And mind you, after Supreme Court pronounced this judgment, every other court is following this. Okay, a lot of decisions are taken based on this judgment. So please remember this. And over a period, when the next 5 days or rather 6 days, we'll be looking at all these things. We'll look at the exemptions to the organization under Section 10 and exemption 12AB or other various exemptions available under Section 10, TDS part of it, and ATG. Okay, so we'll be learning all these things. Before I move into the exemptions, if there are any queries, I request you to put it in the chat box so that then I'll carry on. If you have any queries, kindly put it in the chat box. I'm not going to reply you now. I'll reply only after completing the session. I'll reply all your questions. Okay, since nobody is putting anything in the chat box, let me continue here now. I'll be going beyond 4 o'clock. Kindly be bear with me because I want you to understand. That's why I'm going a little slow also. There are two types of exemptions available to charitable organization. Okay, the first one is 1023C, other one is section 11 to 13, or more specifically, exemption is section 11. And section 11 talks about the various exemptions available to us. The other section talks about conditions and then withdrawal of exemption. Earlier, until I think 2002, 1023C exemption was a blanket exemption. If you get 1023C exemption, then you will not worry about taxes at all. You are given blanket exemption. But now that is all changed. Those days we used to have 1022 for educational institution, 22A for medical, 1023C for everybody else. That was a blanket exemption. Very few conditions were there, and otherwise it was exempt. Whereas section 11 is basically conditional exemption. What is conditional? You have to fulfill X, Y, Z, then only are eligible for exemption. But now I tell you, both streams are conditional only. Both are conditional. Okay, right? There is absolutely no difference between these two. So now government says you can choose any one of them, but still the same law will be applicable to you. The same provisions are applicable to you. 1023C again can be divided into two. The first category is that there are certain educational and medical institutions that does not require registration with the Commissioner of Income Tax or Income Tax Department. We will see that. Okay, there are certain educational institutions that does not require registration with the tax department. Then the next is the other institution that require registration with tax department. The other registrations, main institutions are medical, educational. There are some exemptions to it, medical and educational, but other educational will see that educational, medical, charitable, and charitable religious that require registration. Broadly, there are 4 categories of institution exempt under section 10. Educational institution, they enjoy benefit exemption under various subsections I have given. Medical institutions, charitable institutions, other than medical and educational, so they use the word other charitable institution. Then other religious, religious and charitable institution. If you are purely religious, yes, you are exempt under section 1023C. If you are religious and charitable, you are exempt from this thing, subject to fulfilling conditions. Okay, it is not that it is blanket. All of them need to fulfill the conditions. Educational institution, we have three categories. The first one is 3AB. What 3AB says is that the school or education institution must exist solely for educational purposes, not for the purpose of profit. Okay, right? The Supreme Court, in the case of New Noble Foundation, Educational Foundation, very clearly explained what is solely. So we will take it solely when we take up the New Noble Education Foundation, not for the purpose of profit. So your motive should not be profit. Before New Noble Educational Foundation, there were there were very popular judgments which said even if there is profit, even if there is surplus, courts, as long as it was used for educational purposes, courts allow them to continue to enjoy the tax exemption. But now this will be changed, this will be challenged now. And the third one is wholly or substantially financed by the government. We all know what is wholly financed by the government. Wholly finance is 100% financed by the government. Substantially means what the surplus is that 51% or more. Okay, when you get grants from government, 51% or more from government or government departments, then you are substantially financed by the government. The next one, education institution existing solely for educational purposes. We'll see what is solely, little later in a few minutes time. Not for profit. The aggregate annual receipt does not exceed 5 crores. What is that aggregate annual receipt? Supposing I run 5 schools and each school has got, let's say, 1 crore rupees income. My aggregate income of the trust is 5 crores. Total income is 5 crores. Then I can go under this section. Supposing one school has, instead of 1 crore, they have 1 crore 10 lakhs. And if it exceeds 5 crores, then they are not eligible for exemption under this particular section, 1023C 3AD. Okay, right? So these two categories, 1023C 3AB and 3AD, need not register with the commissioner. All the others will have to go through the commissioner. Similarly, there is exemption for education also. Okay, right? The next one, I have an education institution solely for education, not for profit, but I am approved by the Commissioner of Income Tax. Okay, right? State exemption need to approve my registration. I will get the registration approved by the Commissioner, state exemption. Okay, right? This 5 crores was earlier 1 crore, but now they have changed it to 5 crore, 1 crore for each institution, but now 5 crores for all institutions under one management or under one pack. Okay. Similar definition is for medical also is there. Medical also, when I am existing solely for philanthropic purposes, not for profits, only a substantial finance by the government, then I am exempt from income tax. Okay, 1023C3AC. This also does not require registration with the tax department. Very similar to educational institution, my aggregate annual receipt does not exceed 5 crores. The moment that it exceeds 5 crores, then I am not eligible for exemption under this, but I have to go through the other exemption process. Okay, right? So, and the last one is very similar. Last condition is I am a medical institution existing solely for philanthropic purposes, not for profits, and I am approved by or registered by the Commissioner of Income Tax. I have registration approved from the Commissioner of Income Tax. Now comes the New Noble Educational Society. Okay, right. New Noble Educational Society, what they have said is that the section uses education solely for the purpose of education. The trust exists, the institution exists solely for educational purposes and not for the purpose of profit. So the word solely, Supreme Court said, this is, you have to interpret it. One solely means only, not exclusively. That's all. Earlier, courts used to define solely means primarily. Supposing you're an education institution, you are primarily involved in education, but also carrying out some other activities. Court said, okay, that's okay, as long as you are doing predominantly primarily educational activity, you are still eligible for tax exemption. In fact, in our office, we used to argue, and then we have, got favorable orders from the income tax officers. Okay, right? And what they say is that the next one, so they say that solely means primarily, only, exclusively, nothing else. If an educational institution wanting to enjoy exemption of section 1023C, either 6 or 3AB or 3AD, you need to be existing only for or exclusively for education, nothing else. Okay, right? Their objects also should be education. All their objects, okay, they should have all its objects aimed at or imparting or facilitating education, nothing else. Their objects also should be education. Their activity, I already talked about, their activity should be education. Their object should be education, okay, right? And they should not, they say that they should not engage in activity of profit, okay. They also cannot have objects which are unrelated to education. So all objects of this society or trust or whatever it is must relate to imparting education or be in relation to educational activities. Okay, this is a very, very important judgment that we have now. And they've said that they've used, they have narrowed down the definition of education for the purpose of section 1023C. What they are saying is that education is, it is scholastic structured learning. Education is scholastic structured learning, which means that only the education that the student gets from schools, colleges, universities will be eligible, not everything else. Under 1023C, we are only talking about 1023C. We're not looking at section 12 or 11 or 12AB. We're not looking at that. So 1023C, what they're saying is that if you want to get benefit of section 1023C, either 3AB or 3AD or 6, you need to be, your educational institution should be aimed at scholastic education, not otherwise, because there are a number of judgments which say that even other education is also education. In fact, Supreme Court clarifies that. What they are saying is that here, they're saying that learning, is education. So traveling is an education. Traveling is education because as a result of traveling, you get fresh knowledge. Reading newspapers and magazines is also can be added to your knowledge. All these can be education, but they are saying they are not for the purpose of section 215 education. Okay, right? Okay, they are making it very plain and clear. Okay, right? So what they are saying, education means schooling or training given to young man in preparation of work in life. It connotes the whole course of scholastic instructions which a person is received. Okay, so for the purpose of section 1023C, they are restricting the definition of education to scholastic education. This can even be, this principle can even be used under section 12 also, section 11 exemption also. Okay, 12AB registration that we are talking about. And the next is, I'll go to the next slide because whatever is given in the previous slide, it explains better. What they're saying is that if an educational institution provides their premises, give their premises or infrastructure to other entities, trust or societies for the purpose of conducting workshops, seminars, or even educational students, okay, and outsiders are permitted to enroll in such seminars, workshops, etc. Income derived from such activity cannot be characterized as part of education or incidental to the imparting education. Such income can properly fall under other heads of income. What is the meaning they say? Supposing you have an auditorium or in your school you conduct a seminar or a symposium for other teachers, or you have an auditorium which you give it on rent, and the auditorium is used by other schools for their programs, okay, for conducting seminars or workshops, then all these activities, even though they are educational, because this is not in the narrower definition of scholastic education, they are not education and they are not qualified to be education. Income from such activity will not fall under education, but will fall under income from other sources, will not come under other heads of income. So the exemption under section 11 or 1023C, I'm sorry, 1023C will not be available to them. Next, they are talking about what is incidental. They are saying that selling textbooks, providing hostel or allied facilities, okay, right? Only to its students, not to outsiders. That will be incidental to the objects of the imparting education. So this is the clarification which New Noble Educational Society, the Supreme Court has given to us. And this is also now widely quoted, widely referred to. So please understand these two principles so that will be helpful to you. We have discussed on charitable purpose and then section 1023C. Let me get into the exemptions for main exemptions. Sorry, conditions for exemption. I'm really sorry. Let me get into the conditions for exemption. Any questions, anything you can put in the chat box so that I'll answer it at the end. The first condition is registration with the Commissioner of Income Tax. I don't need to explain this much because all of us have gone through that. And some of us, most of us have already done that correctly. Because those who are registered, in fact, third day will be briefly touching about the registration part of it. Those of us who are registered and enjoying 12A or 12AA, we should have applied under section 12(1) AC subsection 1. Instead, there are some of you who applied and got provisional registration. Okay, right? Provisional registration. I'll explain that to you on the third day. And that registration is not valid. Okay, right? Sometimes, in fact, a couple of organizations have come to me because of the FCRA difficulties, and trying to help them, we saw their tax exemption is not done correctly. So when we told them that it is not done correctly, unfortunately, they say do not agree. They say that they have done it correctly. But now government is giving us another opportunity till September to correct those mistakes. So in case we have this, you can wait till the third day to understand, or otherwise even now you can go and sit with your CA and tell them that, this is not done correctly. There is a recent circular, I think, circular number 6 of 2023. You can refer that to them and tell them to go through that and then file the correct form, withdrawing the wrong form. Okay. The next one is application of income within India. What is this? We will see this a little later. In a broader sense, income tax, we don't have deductions. We have only applications. Okay, right? Application is a wider term, and the law expects us to apply the income within India. Benefits should be available to all without any discrimination. On winding up, if there is any surplus, it cannot be shared by the founders or managers or author or the board members or the governing body or the trustees. it needs to be transferred to another organization of similar nature. Next one now. No personal gains to promoters or managers. We'll deal this elaborately little later, may not today. Maybe third or fourth, I think fourthly we'll be doing this. Okay. Investment in mode specified in 11.5. We can invest only in 11.5 mode, not in any other mode. This also will learn it a little more. The one, what was included last year, and this is applicable for financial year 22-23. Maintenance of books of account and other documents prescribed by tax department, section 12A 1B. It mandates us to maintain books of account. So when this amendment was brought in last year, we were not clear what do they mean, because all of us, all the organizations, we keep our own books. We keep cash book, bank book, ledger, and registers to support the income, or register to substantiate some of those expenses we all have there. But then on 10th August 2022, government came out with inserted a new rule 17AA, which speaks about the various records, registers that we need to keep. So the rule 17AA talks about manner of keeping, place of keeping, period up to which it is to be maintained. All these things we will learn a little later when it comes. But I want you to understand, Rule 17A wants us to keep 10 different sets of records, okay, right, for the organization. All the 10 may not be relevant to us, but certainly at least 50% of them will be relevant to all of us. So we need to keep all the books of account that are relevant for us, so that because this is a condition for exemption. I've been talking to you about conditions for exemption. In case you don't keep these books of account, you don't get a tax benefit. You are not eligible for section 11. Section 11 will not be available to you. Tomorrow we'll to see the various exemptions available to us under section 11. From tomorrow, it's going to be a very important one. I honestly want every one of you to join from tomorrow, more seriously. So if you don't keep the books of account, even if you fail in one or two, right? And please note that your CH, and I will be reporting in the tax audit report given to me, saying that you are keeping all the books of account. If you are not keeping the books of account, I do not have a choice but to report to the tax department that this organization is not keeping this book, not keeping Y book. Okay, right? See, for example, they want you to keep record of projects. This is a very simple register. Okay, right? What are all the projects, where you are having it, what is the purpose of the project? You need to keep this in the form of a register. This register can be manual or electronic, or even in the form of Excel or PDF, but needs to be preserved and kept. But registration is mandatory. And you need to keep record of movable properties, movable and immovable properties. We have been writing year after year to all of you that you should keep your fixed assets registered. Actually, most of you are not keeping this fixed assets registered. Till 21-22, that was not a problem because we were not asked to report whether you are maintaining this or not. But now, we will be reporting if you are not keeping this fixed assets registered. We will report saying that movable properties register is not maintained by the organization. So please understand the seriousness. If you are not maintaining even one, that can be the reason for not making you with section 11 exemption to you. You may be ineligible to claim section 11 exemption. The next one is audit of accounts. We all know that you need to file or tax audit report by 30th September, and you need to file your returns by 31st October. So these are the basic conditions that you should follow. Only then your exemption will be available. Audit report, as I told you, you have to file audit report by 30th September. Okay, right? And in case your income does not exceed 2.5 lakhs, there is no need of any audit report, but you have to file your tax return by July. Normally, those of us who have this audit report, whose income is beyond 2.5 lakhs, then you have time till October. If your income is not less than 2.5 lakh, you'll have to file by 31st of July. Okay, there's only 1 month. So if you're a small organization, please bring your books here, or do take your books to your CA, get it audited and file your tax returns. So far, ITR 7 is not available, but hopefully they will make it available to us in time. What are the various income of charitable organizations? Okay, number one, we all get voluntary contribution. I don't explain voluntary contribution because I just talked to you about voluntary contribution. We all get this donation, nothing but donation. Corpus donation we'll discuss in detail tomorrow. Okay, income from property. When I say property, we all understand property means rental income. Yes, there is a property. And also, income from your activities is also income from property. Income from activities. We'll see this little later. There can be capital gains also when you sell a property. That also will be your income. Profit and gains of business. We've been talking a lot of this, and we'll see this little more also, right? As I told you, voluntary contribution was not taxed till financial year 1972 because this was not the income as commonly understood by everybody. Because there is no effort to earn income, and this is only voluntary, so it was not taxed. But with 1/4/1973, this has become income. This is charged to tax now. Voluntary contribution for repairs and renewal. This is also definitely an income, but we have a special treatment. We'll see this little late, maybe on the 4th or 5th day. Membership fee, subscription, they are not voluntary contribution because membership fee, you say that you want to become a member, you have to pay a fees. This is not voluntary. Subscription again is not voluntary because if you want to be a member of the society, you have to pay so much subscription. But in the church, we have a different subscription, or in the organizations, we have a different subscription. What we normally mean a subscription is not a subscription to become a member. They contribute and we accept that as subscription. Some churches keep a minimum amount of subscription for them to vote in the church elections. Beyond that is optional. So subscription is not, as you understand, but the subscription is mandatory. The fixed amount is fixed, mandatory for certain benefits, then it is not voluntary contribution. Offering in the church is voluntary contribution. Sometimes, we do come out with souvenirs, okay, or magazines. When we do that, we get advertisements. And whether this advertisement income can qualify, whether NGOs can receive, this type of advertisement income, definitely yes. That's because business houses, when they advertise in your magazine, normally they don't get much mileage. They don't expect. This is just to give your donation to you. But when they give donation to you, they don't get any tax benefit. But when they say it's an advertisement, they get tax benefit. They can claim as a business expense. But government says, court said, in the case of, I've given two decisions here. This is more like a voluntary contribution because business houses do not get much mileage out of this. Okay, so advertisement in souvenirs is okay. There is another one, voluntary contribution versus contractual obligations or legal obligations. We all get voluntary donations. We also get project grants. Project grants are not simple voluntary contribution because we sign an agreement with the donor saying that we will do this projects under this guidance. This many programs will be done. This will be the outcome. That is what we sign. And to do that, these are all what we will follow. We will submit accounts every 3 months. We'll get accounts audited every 6 months. We'll submit the report. We'll also give you the management letter from the chartered accountant enlisting the various control measures or any deficiency, any specifics. We do that and we make it very clear. Make it very clear saying that you have no business to spend the money for any other purpose. So when you have this money, these funds, they cannot be strictly speaking voluntary in nature. They are contractual obligations or legal obligations So, but for all practical purposes in our office, what we do is that even these contractual or legal obligations, we treat them as voluntary contribution, and then we offer them to tax and make sure that we fulfill the other conditions. We'll see those conditions tomorrow. Okay. And what are the various income that is that charitable organization has to offer for tax? Supposing I apply any income outside India, we'll have a discussion on this tomorrow, right? Income outside India, that will be subject to income tax, okay, right? When I do give any benefit to the specified person, we'll discuss this more clearly later date. That will also be subject to income tax, okay, right? And also when I invest my funds, surplus funds in other than 11th line, this also we'll discuss tomorrow. Somebody comes and tells you, why are you putting your money in your bank? You get only 6%, maximum 7%. I know this company, they are doing very well. It's a private limited company or a public limited company. I mean, their shares are listed in the stock market. They're doing extremely well. You put your money there, they'll give you 14% interest. You should not do that. If you do that, so much of amount that you're investing will become an income subject to income tax. Okay, right? And income chargeable under section 11(2), what is that? I'll come to the click. Here it is. Supposing you run a school or you run a medical institution and you give benefit to the specified persons. Who are those specified persons? We'll come to the tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Today, for the time being, for our understanding, specified person is your founder or their children, his family, wife and children. Supposing in the school, the founder's children are given free education and you collect fees from others. Whatever is the fee that you collect from others will be the income of the trust, because you cannot give anything free to the founder. You cannot give any benefit to the founder. We'll look at the benefit tomorrow. Another example, you have an hospital, okay, right? Founder's wife, spouse falls sick. She is admitted to the hospital. I do not want to send any bill to the founder. So much of amount the hospital has foregone, that will be chargeable to tax as income of the institution. Okay, right? Income from property held in the trust, rent from building. Okay, right? Income from carrying on the objects of the trust. I have already told you that. And interest income, profit and gains of business. Profit and gains of business we'll look at little later. I will just take another 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes on the end. I'm really sorry this is going a little late today. I'll just take a few more minutes. I'm sorry. Thank you for staying back. Anonymous donation. Because we're talking about income, I thought I'll cover even anonymous donation under 115 BBC also. What is an anonymous donation? Anonymous donation means the donor's identity is not available. I don't know whether any person is attending from the established churches or a bigger organization. They'll all be familiar with. They will be familiar with anonymous petitions. The people complain about X, Y, Z. They don't sign. They send anonymous petitions. I mean, the same way. Why this anonymous? Because the person who is making this, allegations do not subscribe his name, not give his name. Similarly, when you do not have the identity of the donor, whoever is giving, it becomes anonymous donation. What is identity? You need to have their name, address, and also PAN or Aadhaar number. We'll see that little later. What are the documents that are required to establish the identity? When you get anonymous donation, please understand it is taxable at the rate of 30% plus surcharge. Okay, right? 30% is the rate which is given there. Surcharge is given in the Finance Act. And this anonymous donation is not applicable for religious trust. Supposing you are a religious trust, this is not applicable to you. Okay, right? Anonymous donation, because you don't need to collect the name and address and the other documents from the donors. Okay. But unfortunately, in the register, you need to keep the details. We'll come to that little later. Supposing the religious trust has The religious trust as an educational institution or a medical institution, and they get donation specifically for education institution or medical institution, that is not exempt from anonymous donation. In a religious institution, let's take, for example, an established church or a church runs a school, and for the school, they get donation. That donation is not exempt from anonymous donation. Okay, they need to collect the donor's identity, name, address, and one of the ID cards, which I will tell you what it is. Okay, right? And what is the amount which is taxed? It is the aggregate amount of anonymous donation in excess of the higher of the following. Aggregate amount of the anonymous donation. So let's say your income, let's take only the donations part of it. Okay, right? Your total donation, including anonymous donation, is, let's say it is 10 lakh rupees or 100 lakh. 100 is easy. Okay, 100 lakh rupees. And you received anonymous donation of 10 lakhs out of there. What is the exemption available to you? 5% of the total donation. 5% of the total donation is 5 lakhs. Or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is higher. So 5 lakhs is higher. So out of the 10 lakhs, you minus 5 lakhs, balance 5 lakhs will be subject to tax at 30%. Okay. Against this, no other deduction will be available to you. You cannot claim any other deduction, any other application out of this anonymous donation. You cannot claim that. Okay. So I hope I'm making it clear. What are the documents that you need to communicate? And of course, I put it in the form of a chart for us to understand. The donation received by the organization, if it is only charitable, completely charitable, then anonymous donation is applicable to them. If it is completely religious, then anonymous donation does not apply to them. It is religious and charitable. If it is a general donation, not specific for medical or educational, then anonymous donation is not applicable to them. If it is a religious institution, specifically this donation is received for medical or for educational institution, anonymous donation 115 BBC is applicable to them. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. And this is again, I put it here. So when I will share the screen and PPT with you, you can go through that. What are the documents that you are expected to collect to establish that the donors are not anonymous? In case of individuals who are citizens of India, right? Please note that in case of individuals or citizens of India, any one of these documents should be available with you, or the details of that should be available with you. Either their PAN card or their voter's ID or their ration card with their photographs in the ration card, passport, driver license, or Aadhaar card. One of them should be available to you to establish that the donation is not anonymous. The next one, in case individuals who are not citizens of India, okay, a foreigner contributes, it is possible that he can contribute. Then it can be his passport, it can be his OCA card if he is a person of Indian origin, or it can be his driver license, which has his name, address, and also photograph. Right? In case of organizations, company, partnership, or LLP, it could be their registration certificate, incorporated certificate, PAN, or memorandum, or partnership deed, the complete one. For trust, PAN, and 12BAB registration. Okay. When we have these details, then the donation is not anonymous. When we are not having these details, then the donation will be anonymous. Okay, right? I hope this is clear. And these are the registers. We have about 3 registers which we will cover and then we'll close it. These are the registers that we are expected to maintain in the organization. The first register is that voluntary contribution or donation register. This register is expected to be maintained by all of us. There is no exception to religious institution. I repeat again, this register is expected to be maintained by all of us. There is no exemptions or exception given to religious institution. Supposing you are a church, you collect funds and then you issue receipt to them. then in which case you should have the name and address of the donor. You may be collecting types, you may be collecting subscription, either by giving card or by giving cover. You all have their details. You have their, the donors' details with you because you make the members by giving them membership number, all these things, and to keep all these things. PAN or Aadhaar need not be kept, may ask from them in case of a church, but other details need to be available. Mode of receipt number and amount, all these needs to be available. In case of a service collection, because service collection, you will not have, you will not be issuing receipts to the your members. In case of a service collection, have a collection register, service collection register, where you mark the collections. Okay, put the date of the Sunday, what is the worship time, and what is the total amount collected. Ask 2 or 3 people to count that and write. It could be general offering, it could be thanks offering, it could be special offering, whatever it is they contribute. You write that, and then that will be the record for the purpose of donation register. Okay, there you will not know the donor's name and address. For charitable organization or educational and medical and religious one, you need to keep this register. You need to get their PAN, Aadhaar, or any of one of those ID details should be available with you. Okay. And property income register. This is in case of rent. Name and address of the tenant, your tenant's PAN or Aadhaar number, rent amount, mode of receipt, and receipt number and date of receipt you should keep. And the next one is hospital income, because these are all your income. Hospital or school or other IGP. You know the registers better. School, there will be daily fee collection. There can be students name wise, because we have computerized that. Make sure that your computer gives you the printout or gives you this report to us. Okay, right? What is the name of this name and address of the student, nature of receipt, ledger amount, hidden amount. Hospital also, because all of us will have different register. We may have inpatient, we will have inpatient register, we'll have outpatient register, income, we'll have pharmacy income, we have lab income, we have other what is it, radiation, radiology department or radiology department income. If it's a bigger hospital, there are more incomes, more registers. All these registers are to be kept and preserved. These are all part of the documents that we are expected to maintain by the organization. With this, I'm completing my presentation. If there are any queries, I'm happy to answer your queries.
If we are not a church, yeah, I have put it in the chat box
so that it's easy, because if all of us are speaking, then it will be very difficult. Please put it in the chat box, then we'll be able to answer your queries. There are a few questions in the chat box. Let me answer that. Okay, I'll take the last one and then I'll go further. If not a church, if we conduct religious meeting, do we keep records of the offering? Yes. This offering register, you need to keep it. It's part of your income register. Church, definitely they will have. Others also need to have register of income, because if the donor gives you issue receipt, you will be having their name and addresses. Other collections, suppose you conduct a prayer meeting, you conduct a special meeting as a part of your religious program. What you do is that at the end of the program, you have a register for meetings, income register. Ask 2 people who attended the meeting to count the cash and then write denomination and sign that. That will be your income register, and you will account the income from the register into your tally or books of account and that will be sufficient compliances. Okay. If we have a hall which we give it on rent for a day, would that be considered as income? Or I think Krishna, you're asking from Teacup Ministry. There is the reply could be different. Okay. If it is a school, yes, it will be an income. If you're a school, if you give your hall on rent, it will be income. What I understand under the Right to Education Act, you're not allowed to give the hall on rent also, but I'm not very sure about it. If it is a school, it becomes an income in the school. But if it is other than the school, Section 1023C restrictions does not apply. So, in Section 11.5 also talks about investment in immovable properties. Okay, that is also one of the permissible investment, and the income from the hall will be an income from property. That's why I said in the income from property register, you'll have to write the income. Supposing you give hall on rent, instead of tenant, you will be giving the details of the rent collected from the various persons who use the hall in that register. Okay. No, NGOs or NPOs mean both are the same. NPOs, not-for-profit organization, NGOs are non-governmental organization, both mean the same. So the exemptions are the same. We are going to see that tomorrow. And what is the consequences if you are not registered? Also, we'll see it tomorrow. Today, I do not have time to explain this to you. Anyway, okay, Kumar, you can close the screen. Thank you so much to all of you for patiently listening to me. I will share the recording tonight itself to all of you. You'll all get the recording, and also the presentation of today's, today's presentation will also be shared to you. And you can listen to this. In fact, till we complete this session, you can use it within your organization. After that, if you want, you can give it to your friends also. Anyway, my name will not be there anywhere except perhaps in the PPT that we share with you. You can use it, okay, right? This is primarily meant for the client's office, JSAS and associates. Others can definitely take benefit of this, and then please consult your CA, right, if you have any doubts. And we will create a WhatsApp group. As it is, we have a WhatsApp group. Those who have participated also, other than our clients, also will gather into the group. And all your queries, you can always put on the WhatsApp group. We'll try to answer the queries. Okay, right? We have been doing that. We will try to answer your queries. Not necessarily during this session period, even after that, if you have any queries, you have welcome to put your queries in the WhatsApp group. We will reply your queries. The group that we have created is only a temporary one. We'll close the group after next week. Okay, we'll keep it open till next week. After that, we'll close the group. Thank you so much. God be with you. Have a blessed day. Thank you. Bye.